All right, so welcome everyone. It's good to see you. Now, today's topic is the importance of the basics of meditation practice. I haven't given a real introduction for a long time to what meditation actually is, why we do it, and how to properly start on the path. So today I use the time to actually talk a little bit about these aspects. So first of all, maybe a good question to ask would be, what is meditation? Well, meditation is a simple tool or a technique that helps us to find true happiness and helps us to let go of suffering. That's the whole point, right? We have many such tools in our lives that are supposed to do exactly that. Like every time you move your body, that's a tool that is supposed to get you out of the previous suffering and establish happiness, comfort. Everything in life is just like that. Every time we read a book or we watch movies and so forth, we try to get out of our current state into something that is apparently more pleasant, seemingly more pleasant. So life is an endless chain of these kind of events, trying to get to a more pleasant state, trying to let go of the unpleasant state that I'm in right now. And if you're experiencing a pleasant state, then the activity would be more in the direction of trying to sustain it, trying to keep it, or to enhance it. Many people who have pleasant experience in their meditation practice, they try to replicate them. Have like some mind-blowing insight arising, or just a really good feeling in your body that comes with a well-composed mind. And then they go into their next meditation. It's a very classic thing for beginners to then try to chase it. They try to replicate it to get the same feeling again. Oh, yesterday's meditation was really good. Why doesn't today work at all? That's very common, and I can tell you that will not really stop. Sometimes you'll have great meditations. Great is in quotes here. Sometimes you have nasty meditations. Nasty as well is in quotes. But each time you actually sit down and you take care of yourself, which is another way to describe meditation, it's a very good thing. Each time you're actually directing your attention inwards, you're directing your attention to yourself, you learn about yourself, you discover yourself, it's a very, very good thing. And that's also a very rare thing in this world. Most people are continuously caught up with objects, appearances, things, circumstances, events around them, outside of themselves. And I count the body, and I count emotions, and I count thoughts into that. I count them into circumstances. For me, circumstances is basically everything that is subject to change. That includes our own psychology, all aspects of it, everything we feel, everything we think about is a circumstance. It is something that can be observed, that can be seen. So it must be in front of you. It must be before you. Otherwise you couldn't see it. So every time we are engaging in activity that helps us to actually direct the light within, to see ourselves more clearly, to understand the mechanics of our own mind, that's a great thing to do. A wonderful way of spending your time. Because everything begins and falls with your mind. Every single decision that you make in your life comes from your mind. Your mind is making decisions. It makes your body turn left. It makes your body turn right. It makes you chase after your dreams. It creates dreams. It gives you ambitions. It gives you all these kind of things. They arise within the mind. So the mind is by far one of the most important things in life. And if we fail to actually understand and comprehend our mind properly, we will never find a way out of stress. Because also stress arises in the mind, suffering arises in the mind. Not just only in the body, but predominantly in the mind. There are feelings that arise in the body, but in the mind they turn into stress, they turn into suffering. They turn into undesirable things. But in the body, they're just energies. They're just natural energies. In the mind, they turn into pain, problems, stuff that I don't want now. I want to feel differently. I want to get elsewhere. That all arises in the mind. That's an additional layer of problems. So if the mind is in that kind of state where it is continuously unsatisfied, looking for the next kind of thing, it will never really arrive, and that will go through it your entire lifetime. It will never feel a sense of actually coming home, being fully at ease, being fully rested. The only thing that we will experience if our mind remains untrained is just temporary moments of relief. A previous problem coming to an end, and the new problem just being in the beginning, so it feels good. But if you want to reflect on that more deeply, then just, as I always recommend, look at your posture. Feel your body. It continuously gets worse. So that's why you continuously need to do stuff to your body to keep it in a relatively bearable state. The mind is precisely the same. It's like a mirror image of the body in that regard. It does the same thing. It's always searching for something. Attention is always going around looking for the next thing to hopefully fulfill me. It looks for somewhere to get, or for something to get, or for someone to become. I need to become different. And that is stress, it's suffering. If you're feeling really, really good, then you don't have any wants. You don't have any desires. You enjoy yourself perfectly well in your own company. There's no arising of additional artificial needs. You still have to go pee on the toilet. You still have to eat food. But your true needs, they will still be there. Things that we really need. But happiness, if you have that, all the artificial stuff around us that we've been told will make us happy, you look through it. It's just stuff. Sometimes when I walk through a shopping mall, I feel like surrounded by future garbage. Because that's all that it is, isn't it? It's just future trash. You walk around in a big house full of things that people will throw away soon. Or can't wait to get rid of. Right? It's very pleasant sometimes to kind of clean up your house, to get rid of all the stuff that's been there for years somehow, but you never really touched it, and it's just been stored in some room, in a dark room, just behind closed doors. And now it's the time to kind of do the spring cleaning, to get rid of all the old burdens, the ballast, all the stuff that you once thought is going to make you super happy. But it failed us on the long run. It didn't really work. Stresses on the word really. It did not really work. It temporarily kind of worked a little bit. It gave us a temporary moment of, yay, that's nice. That's okay. But it didn't last. And on the long run, it turns into a burden. So that's when I say, when we practice meditation, we are not looking for temporary pleasures. We're looking for true happiness. That's something different. That's a happiness that arises outside of your own inner self, you can say. That comes from your center. That is not dependent on stuff, but that bubbles from its original source. Because the source of happiness is within you. It's not in stuff. Happiness is not hidden somewhere in atoms. And all you need to do is just get a lot of atoms together so you can then be happy for the rest of your life. Happiness is also not in other people. So the only thing that you would need to do is surround yourself with a lot of those happy people and you will be happy all the time. It doesn't work. Because people change, right? Sometimes they have good days, sometimes bad days, sometimes good hours, sometimes bad hours. So if we rely on circumstances, we will never be truly satisfied, truly fulfilled. We can only expect always like temporary relief. So meditation is just another tool to make you happy. But here we're really focusing on true happiness, not on temporary pleasures. Another way to describe meditation would be that it's a way out of suffering. It's a way out of stress, of tension. So what is suffering? The Buddha uses the word dukkha, which means, can be roughly translated in that which is hard to bear. So if we're looking at the body, for example, then you can notice that, yes, the body is definitely a great source of suffering. It needs to be constantly maintained. That is not anything you need to believe in. It's something you can just directly observe minute after minute. Just looking at your body, you will notice that it continuously demands you to fix it. Doesn't it? It's not that you have this body and it continuously feels better and better each minute. All you need to do is just sit there and it just keeps getting better, right? That's not the case. It's not even the case in the long run, right? Even if we get older and older, and then the pinnacle is death. So for most of us, the most energetic times, the most vital time is already behind us. So the destiny of this body is old age, illness, death. By the way, guys, that might seem a bit depressing. You might hear this and go like, oh, no, that's really depressing. I believe in the body to be a miracle. Yes, it is. It's a miracle. It's quite fantastic how it works. I agree. But it's still, there is no denying that it constantly poses stress. Even though it is a fantastic machine, yeah, so is a phone, so is a car, but the body surpasses these by far. The complexity of the body is truly astonishing. How it works, it's pretty amazing. You put a banana in and it runs for a few more hours. It's crazy, but it works. It's literally fueled by stuff that you put into a hole in your face. Meant by breathing, drinking, and by moving it. So sophisticated. So I'm not denying that. I'm not one of those people that deny the body and that say like the body is a sin and the body is bad and we should discard the body. No, it's a fantastic vehicle. It allows us, and what's the best thing about this body is it allows us to do self-reflection, to sit and actually become aware of our mind. It gives us enough leisure and pleasure so we can actually sit down comfortably, at least after a while of practice, and look within. That's amazing. You can do this with our body. You become self-aware. Another thing that's great that you can do with this body is you can allow the kindness that you cultivate in your own heart and mind to manifest into positive action. You can use your body to benefit other beings. That's pretty good. That's amazing. You can use your body to make other people happy. And it will make yourself also feel good. At the same time, this is a win-win. As soon as you're really out there to make other people happy, you experience happiness. Some people say, well, I'm making other people happy all the time, but I feel miserable. They never seem to appreciate it. Yeah, this is not a genuine motivation. This is tit for tat. I do something nice to you so you appreciate me. That's not kindness. That's business. But if you're truly kind, you feel happy. There's no way around it. You feel great. You enjoy another being's happiness. And you can do this with this body. You can use it as a tool. Not only to make others happy, but also to help them to get out of suffering. You can use your body too for this. To reduce suffering in this world we live in. So all of these things are good about the body. I'm not saying the body is a bad thing. But it is still undeniable that it creates a lot of pain. What about the mind? Well, the mind is 10 times worse. It creates so much more pain than the body does. So much more trouble. The body is pretty simple compared to the mind. It just grows up, it grows old, and it dies, and it produces a lot of feelings on the way. But the mind turns it into a personal problem. We can turn all kinds of things into personal problems. That's what the mind does. It might look at another person and turns their suffering into my own suffering. We do that a lot. Someone is upset and angry at ourselves, then we take it on board and we become angry ourselves too. And it's almost like an infection that takes over. Like a virus that spreads. And we're not immune against it. The mind is so easily affected by circumstances, what people say, the way people look at you, the way your circumstances are. The mind picks it up and makes it personal. The pinnacle of making things personal, and the most funny way probably, is your own thoughts. At times people can feel as if my thoughts are attacking me. I have too many thoughts. That's so funny. Why do you have them? Why don't you just leave them be? Why mess around? Why go out there and disturb your thoughts? What have they ever done to you? Just leave them alone. Let them pass. Why get entangled in them? Right? And each time we get entangled in them, we feed them also. They become more strong through our belief in them. We are believing in our thoughts. So we're not really free from our thoughts. We're not really free from our emotions. We can actually say we're not free from our body and our mind because we're continuously caught up in them. It's very personal. My body is me. My body is my body. My mind is who I am. This is my mind. My mind won't let me sleep. My mind won't let me meditate. That should sound familiar to many people. Maybe you've just experienced it in this past meditation. You thought, okay, I'm going to sit here in this meditation center. I'm going to have a peaceful half an hour. And you close your eyes and you were like really still in the beginning, and then it started. The body became a burden. It didn't let you sit still. And then the mind said, yeah, but you should sit still. See, that's the example of how your mind creates problems. You should sit still. You should be totally peaceful now. Now it's time to meditate. You should experience only bliss. But the mind is not like that. It's not just only blissful. You might have noticed. It doesn't do what you want it to do. It doesn't even follow your own command. You can tell it, be happy and peaceful. It just doesn't care. It wants to be upset about the news about whatever that pop up in your Facebook newsfeed, then it is upset about them, and there's nothing you can do about it. You see the news, you're upset. And many people see the news, and many people are upset together. And then they use their body to express how upset they are. And then other people see them expressing their upsetness and are upset about it. And then they express counter-upsetness. It's just endless insanity. It's all mind-made, dreaming. We're dreaming up all these kind of things. Skin color, as if it really mattered. It's just skin. How does that matter? For a baby, it doesn't matter. Skin color isn't even anything that appears to a baby, really. But why does it matter so much for us? Now, why do we get so upset about it? Because it's the mind. It's totally out of control. It makes us engage in endless debates, about this, about that, and in the end, then the next day we've already forgotten what we were talking about, but the day before we were super upset about someone expressing their opinion in any way we didn't like, about people being the way they are. But why can't we just leave things alone? Because we can't even leave ourselves alone. But that's another way of describing meditation. It's a time when you leave yourself alone. But that's pretty tough, because we're not really used to leave ourselves alone. We're constantly trying to do something to ourselves. And then we sit down and sit cross-legged, and now it's time to meditate. And we have no clue what meditation really is, but we just try to do something like focus on the breath. Or then we focus on the breath and we see that it doesn't work, and then we get upset about it. Oh, I can't focus on my breath. Can't even do that. I can't even do the most simple thing. What's wrong with me? So that's not leaving yourself alone. This is like doctoring around on yourself, trying to make your mind into something perfect, trying to create happiness. Of course, that's normal because it's the only thing that we know, creating happiness. But true happiness cannot be created. True happiness is most essentially who you are. Another way to describe meditation is accessing a state of being rather than doing. And that's also not that simple, because we're totally caught up in doing most of the time. The mind always needs to do something. So now I'm doing this meditation thing. See where that gets me. We have great trouble with just being. If I told you just be, only instruction, you come to this meditation class and then I say, go close your eyes, just be. How? Well, it's not an effort really, you see. Being is nothing about it, is nothing you can do. It's probably the only thing you cannot do is to be. It's pretty profound. It's like someone coming up with a camera in front of you and saying like, be natural. I'm going to make this picture of you now. Be totally natural, but just be yourself. Have you ever heard that in your life? But just be yourself. Like you were trying your smile that you've practiced in front of the mirror. You try that smile. I'm looking good from the side. I need to smile like this. I will look good in every picture. And then there's these people that always look the same on every picture. They have their picture face. My grandmother had a picture face. As soon as the camera came up, she just went into a pose. Always. It's too funny. And we do our picture face, and then someone would sometimes, photographers, they say, just act naturally, just be yourself. But we have no idea what that means. Just be yourself. What the hell does that mean? We're so full of learned stuff that we just don't know what it is like to just be the original me. We've all learned how to be cool, we've all learned how to be smart, how to be clever, how to express ourselves in the most acceptable ways, but we don't know what it means to just be. Without any gadgets, without any stuff attached. Like a baby is pretty natural, until you teach them how they should be. Then they become gradually more and more unnatural. The final product then is an adult, a completely unnatural being, unable to relax anymore. We can't enjoy ourselves anymore. That's what's wrong with the world. We're unable to enjoy ourselves. It's like, sit down on a bench and just enjoy myself. But how? Just play, like put it to the test. This afternoon, sit down somewhere and make it your goal to, okay, I'm going to just enjoy myself. Without doing anything. Just sit there. 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Not doing anything. Can you enjoy yourself? No distractions, no stuff to do, to look at, to get involved in. Just you. Is it enough for you to feel happy? And there it becomes really obvious just how much we have been brainwashed into believing that true happiness comes from endless consumption and entertainment. There it becomes obvious. It's like the way you are is not enough. Who you are is not enough. The way you look, not enough. How you perform, not enough. How you feel, not enough. How you think, not enough. You need to be more. Because it's very simple. Enough doesn't sell. You go into a shopping mall and there's this salesman, he comes to you and says, hey, have a look at the newest model of whatever phone. And you say, no, I'm happy with my phone. And he says, yeah, but the new model has a better camera though. You say, I'm happy with my camera. I don't need more. The person is like, yeah, but it has so much better resolution, you can make better pictures. I don't need to make better pictures. I'm happy with my pictures. You can't sell. You can't sell to such a person. It can be quite frustrating if you want to sell something to someone that is happy. Because they don't need anything new. And sometimes they might even appear like, they're just like, they're not really with the trends. They don't really appreciate the new technology and what they could do with it. Or they don't feel like they need to do anything. They're happy. What would they need to do? Why do we feel so much need for doing so much, for consuming so much? The reason is simple, because we have learned to feel that way. You have learned to prefer Coke over Pepsi or Pepsi over Coke. That's what you've learned. You're not born with this. You've learned to feel a certain way about a certain ethnic group. You have learned to feel a certain way about men, about women. You have learned to think a certain way and feel a certain way about yourself even. That's all learned. It's not original to you. You're not born with all the stuff in your head. That's all learned. So the big question is like, who are you beyond all this stuff? Beyond all these thoughts and emotions and beyond the body even, who are you? Who is behind all this? Where is all this happening? Where is all this perceived? It's leading us deep on the inside. And what meditation does is it empowers our knowing or seeing or conscious quality so that we can finally break through and understand ourselves on the most fundamental level. And that is beyond suffering, it's beyond stress. Like as soon as the knowing quality, as consciousness is bound up with something, we are suffering precisely that. And when the knowing conscious quality is detached from that thing, we're not suffering it anymore. It's still there. Here, detached does not mean cold-hearted. Many people think, oh, detached means cold-hearted. It's not. As my teacher said properly, it's more in the meaning of separate. You know that I am not this body. I am not this mind. These things rather appear to me temporarily, like stuff that appears to you in a dream. Although simultaneously you know that you are not what appears to you on the deepest level. This is what finally helps you to get out of suffering, moves beyond body and mind. But if we cannot access that knowing quality, the most fundamental quality of you, you have it right now. You are a conscious being. Right now. Consciousness is right there. But we don't notice it, right? you don't really notice that you're conscious. It eludes us. We don't see ourselves as consciousness. We see ourselves as conditioned personalities that walk the earth in a flesh bag, which doesn't really, it's not really the truth. Huh? It's more like a person that is in a car thinking that they are the car. A person in a train believing they are the train. But you can only know that you're not the train if you step out. And then you see, oh, there is the train, it's right in front of me. I am not the train. I believed I was. But now I clearly see that I'm not. That is a very real experience. We believe we are the body for a while. Then you practice meditation, you go deeper. And there will be a moment on your path when you truly see, oh, that was a delusion. I am not really this body. This body is a temporal vehicle. It doesn't last. I'm riding it for a while, like you would ride a train or a car. And the mind is the same, by the way. It's even more short-lived. Sometimes you're riding anger, then you're riding happiness, then you're riding self-righteousness. It's very short-lived. And if you can realize that you're not these two, body or mind, there's freedom from body and mind, aka freedom from suffering, freedom from stress. You're not suffering circumstances anymore because you've truly found yourself. You've found your center. Another way to illustrate that is becoming aware of the screen while watching a movie. Normally we're totally caught up in the movie, right? We're not aware of the screen. We don't notice the screen on which the movie appears. And even less so, we recognize the mind in which this movie appears. And the screen. And the cinema. And the people around you. It's deep stuff. And yet it's the most basic and simple stuff. It's a bit of a paradox, like many things actually are on the spiritual path. Very paradoxical. Now that basic beginning stage of meditation, that is really important because this is what leads us up to these higher insights, these higher understandings, eventual complete freedom from suffering. How do we start? Now if you're a beginner, what do you do? Right? This is the typical question, what do I do? What do I need to do? So doing plays a role, obviously. We need to do something. And namely, stay present. This is the basic state that should be cultivated at all times. Let go of thinking about what just happened and what will happen. Instead, notice where is your attention right now. And your attention can be with 6 things. It can be with sounds, it can be with smells, with tastes, it can be with sights, with feelings or thoughts. 6 things. Make it really simple. Where is it now? Where is it now? Where is it now? You'll notice it jumps around all the time. The image that is given to illustrate that is a little monkey that is in a room with 6 windows. 1, 2, that's only 5 here. Let's say there are 6 windows or doors, entry gates, and that little monkey is in the room. And what it does, it constantly jumps from window to window looking outside. So that monkey's name is attention. And so your attention is equally constantly jumping from thing to thing. Is that true or not? Yeah, it's true, right? You don't have to believe me there. It's not an idea, an opinion you can know for yourself. All the things that I'm talking about today, they are not beliefs, not opinions. They can be directly experienced by everybody. So right now, notice where is your attention. And a little exercise that is helping you to do that, you can label it if you like. Makes it simple for a beginner. Hearing. Feeling. Feeling. My feeling has changed. Hearing. Seeing. Where does your attention go? It shifts very fast from sense to sense. That is present moment awareness. Here you're completely letting go of thinking about what just happened and what will happen. That's the first thing we let go of, future and past. The mental falsity of future and past. Future and past are nothing but a mind in movement. They're ideas, concepts, memories, thoughts. They don't exist out there. There is no objective past that everyone can go to and experience it exactly the same. Your past is not my past. So if we go into a time traveling machine, you'll experience something completely different. It's objective. It's subjective. You're experiencing it on your own level. It's a private experience. It's your memories, which are, by the way, not accurate on top of that. Memory is not very accurate at all. It's colored and it's constantly changing also every day. Each time you retell one of your memories, you're retelling it slightly differently. And every time it changes a little bit. Pay attention to this. We're falsifying it based on the way we feel right now, for example, or the context that we're using it in right now. It's always changing. And then future, well, we don't know what's going to happen. It's never as we thought it would be. It never is. I might think, for example, before the talk that I give, I might think, okay, today I'm going to talk about this or that. And then it's something completely different comes out. I don't even know what I'm saying next. I don't know. I don't care, fortunately. I don't have to think before I talk. It's natural. It's like a fighter. You have good reflexes. Let the reflexes do the work. Get out of the way in the ring. Now your reflexes do the work. So you hopefully did some good sandbag training. Hopefully did some good training sessions. So now it works. You don't need a plan. A plan renders you completely inefficient. Anyone who had some fighting experience, you will know. So presence, the ability to really be here right now, to let go of what was that just now? Or what will happen? These fabrications in the mind. That makes your life efficient. On a very simple level, if you're talking with someone and you're caught up in what just happened before you were talking with them, you're not listening to them. That renders this conversation inefficient, doesn't it? You're not really present, you're not really there. You're stuck in the YouTube video that you just watched before the conversation. And you can't wait before your turn comes in the conversation where you can tell them about the funny YouTube video which somehow relates to what they just said. And if it doesn't relate to what they just said, you kind of make up some way of relating it to it. So we all know how it feels like if you talk with someone who can't wait to be next to speak. That's horrible. You feel not listened to. It renders the conversation pointless. It's just two talkers. Nobody listens. Most conversations are like that. Just people just want to put themselves out there. Here is me and my opinions. And here are mine. And then here is what I think about your opinions. And that's what I think about your thoughts, about my opinions. And then nobody really listening. Inefficient conversation. A good conversation entails both expression and listening. And if that is nicely balanced, it's a very fruitful conversation. It can be a very nice experience if you feel understood, you feel listened to. Same is true for your job, whatever you're doing at your job. If you're answering an email and at the same time you can't wait to have lunch, you will answer that email in a very specific mindset, like, I need to rush through that. Might make your company a bit less successful because your customers don't feel understood. They feel like being rushed through something. Many companies make that mistake, I think. They value time efficiency over customer care. They value productivity over kindness. And so that's the recipe for not fully being successful. We're valuing our future projections over the present action that we could take. Right now, right here, to up the quality in this moment by allowing attention, awareness, consciousness to flow into what we do. In other words, you can say, by allowing your being to flow into your doing. Not the other way around, like hoping that enough doing will allow us to be at some point. That will never happen. More doing leads to more doing. It doesn't lead to more being. But if there's more being within you, if that power flows into your actions are highly meaningful, uplifting and transformative to anyone who comes into contact with you. You'll speak to totally different things in people. You're not speaking to their intellect. If you're speaking from presence, you're not talking to their intellect, you're talking to their heart. It's a very different kind of way to interact and relate. So in a way, meditation is, to summarize it real quick, it's just simply a tool, gets you out of suffering and helps you to find true happiness within yourself. That's pretty much it. Just another tool.